Okay, let's jump right in. Welcome everyone to this deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we're exploring a really pivotal time in the story of Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha. Specifically, we're looking at that period after the Great Renunciation, after he left his old life behind.
Right, when he started actively seeking wisdom from the big-name spiritual teachers of his day.
Exactly, and the source material really highlights two key figures he learned from, Alara Kalama and Uddaka Ramaputta.
And these weren't just, minor figures. They were heavy hitters.
Definitely. Representing some pretty sophisticated spiritual traditions back then, paths focused on, meditation and philosophy.
Understanding his time with them is so important, I think. It shows what he learned, but also clarifies why he felt their teachings weren't the complete answer for him.
Even though he mastered what they taught, which is incredible in itself.
Absolutely. And there's something universal there, isn't there? Seeking out teachers, learning, maybe hitting a wall.
Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, and then realizing you need to find your own way. It's a relatable process, even for someone like the Buddha.
For sure. So the plan for this deep dive is basically understand what these teachers taught, see how Siddhartha experienced it, and then, crucially, figure out why he decided, okay, this isn't it, I need to keep going.
And it's striking how fast he supposedly mastered their techniques. It shows his inherent capacity, but also that intense focus he had.
Yeah, focus on something specific, something maybe beyond what they were offering.
Exactly, something beyond just achieving these, incredibly refined mental states.
Okay, so let's start with the first one mentioned in the sources, Alara Kalama. Who was he? What was his reputation?
Well, Alara Kalama was apparently quite famous, a respected ascetic, known as a master of meditation and philosophy.
Someone Siddhartha would naturally seek out, then.
Oh, absolutely. If you were serious about this path, he was someone you'd likely try to learn from. His specialty was guiding people into these very deep states of concentration.
And what was the core of his teaching? What was the goal?
The focus was really intense meditative practice, guiding students through these progressively higher states of awareness.
Higher states?
Yeah. And the pinnacle of his system, according to the source, was achieving something called the Realm of No-Thingness.
The Realm of No-Thingness. Okay, that sounds pretty out there. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, it is abstract. It's described as a state where you go beyond perceiving, anything conventional. Physical form, space, even the idea of consciousness is the thing you observe.
So, like total stillness.
Profound stillness, yeah.
Yeah.
Boundless. A state where the mind isn't registering existence or non-existence in the usual way. Think of it as an incredibly deep, quiet, expansive mental space, far beyond ordinary thoughts or feelings.
Wow, okay. And Siddhartha, as a student, how did he take to this?
Amazingly well, apparently. The texts emphasize just how dedicated he was and how incredibly quickly he picked it up.
He didn't just learn it, he mastered it.
Mastered it. Reached that realm of no-thingness remarkably fast. Faster, it said, than even students who'd been with Kalama for years.
That's quite something. Must have shown incredible aptitude.
No doubt. And Alara Kalama saw it too.
He recognized Siddhartha's achievement.
Totally. The sources say Kalama was so impressed, he basically offered Siddhartha the highest honor he could.
Which was?
He invited him to stay, teach alongside him, become a co-leader of the whole community.
Okay, so he finds this top teacher, masters the highest teaching, gets offered this leadership role. I mean, that sounds like success, right?
You'd think so.
But the story goes, he left. Why? What was missing?
That's the crucial point. Even in that state, that realm of no-thingness, with all its peace, Siddhartha realized it wasn't the end of suffering. It was profound, yes, but temporary. It didn't get to the root of, why dissatisfaction arises in the first place. The whole cycle of birth, aging, sickness, death, that fundamental problem wasn't solved just by reaching this state.
It was an experience, but not liberation.
Exactly. A very deep experience, but not the ultimate permanent freedom he was searching for.
Okay, so he respectfully declines the offer, I assume, and moves on. Where does he go next, having pushed Kalama's system to its limit?
Well, the search continues, and that leads him to Uddaka Ramaputta.
Another well-known teacher.
Yes, another highly respected ascetic master, also known for guiding students into very advanced meditative states. Similar focus, perhaps, but taking it further.
Further than the realm of no-thingness?
That's the idea. Uddaka's teachings also centered on achieving these very subtle realms of consciousness through meditation.
Okay, and what was the highest state he taught?
His ultimate attainment was called The realm of neither perception nor non-perception.
Neither perception nor non-perception. Wow, okay. If no-thingness was abstract, how do you even describe that?
It's even harder, right? It's presented as, well, even more refined and more subtle than no-thingness.
Like, how?
It's described as a level of consciousness so rarefied that the very distinction between having a perception and not having one just fades away or becomes irrelevant.
So it's beyond even the concept of perceiving or not perceiving.
Pretty much. An extremely subtle state of mental quietness, almost beyond conceptual thought itself. Imagine the idea of stillness itself dissolving.
That's hard to wrap your head around.
Definitely.
And Siddhartha, same story again, quick mastery.
Yep, the sources indicate the same pattern. Remarkable speed, remarkable proficiency. He attained this realm of neither perception nor non-perception, mastering Uddaka's highest teaching, just like before.
And Uddaka Ramaputta must have been equally impressed.
Just as impressed.
Yeah.
Recognized Siddhartha's unique ability and, again, invited him to stay and lead the community with him.
So here we go again. Reached the absolute pinnacle of another major spiritual system, offered the top job.
Twice now.
And he leaves again. Why, this time, it sounds even more profound than the last state. What was still missing?
Well, from Siddhartha's perspective, the fundamental limitation was still there, just maybe at an even subtler level.
Still not the end of suffering.
Exactly. This realm of neither perception nor non-perception, while perhaps an even deeper tranquility, still didn't eradicate the root causes of suffering. It didn't break the cycle of conditioned existence of samsara.
Because these states themselves are still conditioned, temporary.
That seems to be his realization. As incredibly refined as they were still phenomena arising within the cycle of cause and effect. They weren't the unconditioned, the deathless, the final liberation he sought. The basic problem of impermanence wasn't solved.
Okay, so it's clear these teachers, despite their wisdom, didn't hold the final key for him. But surely these experiences weren't like wasted time.
Oh, not at all. They were absolutely crucial steps, not detours, but necessary explorations.
Foundational, maybe.
Very much so. They helped him map the territory, you could say, showed him the limits of the paths available at the time.
So what were the big takeaways for him? What did he gain, even if it wasn't the ultimate answer?
Well, first, undeniable proof of his own capacity, right? His ability for deep concentration was clearly exceptional.
He must have known he had a gift for this.
For sure. He also learned powerful meditative techniques, methods for calming and focusing the mind that would surely be useful later.
And
Crucially, he learned the limits. He experienced firsthand what these advanced practices could achieve, and just as importantly, what they couldn't. He saw the boundary line.
He mastered their maps, but realized they didn't show the destination he was looking for.
That's a great way to put it. His time with them gave him this incredibly solid grounding in meditative discipline, a deep understanding of how the mind works on these subtle levels.
But he saw their focus was on achieving states, maybe not on digging up the roots of suffering itself.
Right. That seems to be the core insight. These states were amazing, but they didn't address the fundamental why of suffering, which was his driving question.
It really shows his clarity and commitment, doesn't it? To stick to his goal, even when offered status and recognition by these respected masters.
Absolutely. It took courage and incredible discernment to say, thank you, this is profound, but it's not it.
So that brings him to this real turning point after leaving Uddaka Ramaputta.
Yeah, pivotal moment. He'd now gone to the best teachers he could find, mastered their highest practices.
Reached these incredible states of absorption.
Understood them from the inside out. But the core question is, what is suffering, and how does it truly end? That was still unanswered within those frameworks.
So this is where the source suggests he really starts to go his own way.
Exactly. This is the point where he truly begins to forge his own path. No more following established traditions to their endpoint.
Relying entirely on himself now.
On his own deep investigation, his own experimentation, his own direct experience. That rigorous self-inquiry becomes the method.
And the focus shifts too, right? Away from just achieving altered states.
Yes, completely. Recognizing that wasn't the final goal, he started focusing intensely on understanding the nature of reality itself, the actual causes of suffering, and the way to end it, not just temporarily escape it in meditation, but end it completely.
Through his own insight.
Through his own direct seeing.
So, looking back, his time with Alara Kalama and Uddaka Ramaputta was essential, not because they gave him the answer,
but because they helped him understand precisely what the answer wasn't.
They cleared the way, showed him the paths that didn't lead all the way there.
Exactly. They helped define the boundaries, and in doing so, helped point the direction for his own unique journey toward enlightenment.
And that really sums up this deep dive, doesn't it? These encounters show Siddhartha's incredible dedication, his willingness to learn, but also that sharp, critical mind, that refusal to settle for anything less than the complete truth he was seeking.
Yeah, and it's a powerful reminder for all of us, I think. Sometimes the most respected ideas or authorities might not have the full picture for us.
Right. True understanding often means we have to do our own digging, our own exploration.
Be courageous enough to follow our own insights, even if it means stepping off the beaten path.
So maybe a final thought for you to consider, building on that idea of how these teachers help define Siddhartha's unique path. How might understanding the limits of one way of thinking or one set of answers, how might that actually clarify the path for your own questions, your own search for understanding?
Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.
Yeah, thank you. Hope you found it interesting.